The Dark Crystal.
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Dark Crystal, a film that has been out since 1982 but is currently on Netflix, and I thought I would do a review for it because I know some people haven't actually seen it, and with the TV series coming out soon I thought it would be great to kind of do a refresher review. Before I get into review, let me know, what is your favourite 80s film? Jen, played by Stephen Garlick, is raised by a noble race called the Mystics. Has been told that he is the last savior of his own race, the Gelflings. He sets out to try and find a shard of the Dark Crystal, a powerful gem that once provided balance to the universe. After the crystal was broken, the evil Skeksis used sinister means to gain control. Jen believes that he can repair the Dark Crystal and bring peace back to the world if he can only find the remaining shard. I grew up loving 80s films. I grew up mostly in the 80s and the 90s. Those were my go-to films. And Dark Crystal, The Never-Ending Story, and The Goonies, and Flight of the Navigator, all of those were my bread and butter. I loved those. Back to the Future. All of that. But I have to say, to my shame, I don't think I'd ever seen, until recently, Dark Crystal all the way through. I'd seen bits of it, I'd known about it, I had heard about it, and so I went back and watched it recently because it's on Netflix and thought, let me check this out. I was watching it and I was going, wait, I haven't seen all of this. So I sat back and enjoyed watching it, and I have to say, it's amazingly well preserved. It is dated. What kind of blew my mind was how great the puppeteering, the set creations, the directions, all the kind of designs, the Skeksis, Jen, the character, the movements of the puppets. As a whole, mostly it's still amazing. The color palette, the tone, Jim Henson's, his whole studio was fantastic. It is amazing, and I'm so glad they're doing this in a series. I do think the story does feel like it's quite dragged out. It's quite slow paced, but back then in the 80s, that was the way we did films. If you go back and watch the original Star Wars or even Flight of the Navigator, Goonies, the pacing and the editing, to how we did films then is very different to what we expect to see now. It's all fast paced and sharp and quick and to the point, but Dark Crystal takes its time. You spend the first 45 minutes after the initial production just setting up that story before you get into the whole story about the shard and the crystal, and before you see actually any real progression. But I love the characters they show in there. Detail in the puppets are amazing. So just the eyes. If you think back to 1982, what we could do with special effects and CG to what they had available to them. This is why it was all real, all tangible. And you do feel that in the film. You feel like it's real and tangible. You do get films now that are just 100% CG, well, mostly CG.
Mostly.
And sometimes you can lose some of the soul that you get across in films like this. So I am a champion for real life animatronics, puppeteering, creature designs. All the creature effects in this is fantastic. I love just seeing things like steam and mist flow across the set as the character runs across the mountain or is trying to climb. And the way it's shot as well really gives an edge to that fantasy. It puts you in the zone. So I was taken out a bit, but because some of the stuff has aged, and I think you can kind of allow it to be aged a bit because it is set in 1982. So, well, in that time zone, things have changed. We've gotten better at doing things. And so for the Netflix series, they were saying that they're doing it the same way as they did the film, but they're going to make it in such a way that it doesn't take you out, that you forget that it's a puppet. And for the large majority of the film, I did forget that I was seeing puppets. I was just kind of blown away by the creations that they had then. They looked beautiful and stunning. Beautiful in the way that you can just really appreciate how they created them. The story itself, I think, was fun, but I'm looking forward to see how they expand the universe in this series. I think there's a lot of universe there to tackle with the series, and there are other places, like with the editing and score, I think it has aged, but I still love the score. the amount of detail you get in each set. So not only are they, animating a puppet or a tree or a weird creature, there's multiple things going on. It's really layered. Just go and watch a few seconds of one particular scene where Jen is running and meets his partner or another gelfling that he thought he was the only one. And then you look at the creatures running around in the back, from a tiny one, just for a split moment, running across the pathway, then to something in the water that you thought wasn't alive at all, and it comes and there's this big mother and another creature and the trees and things are going. I was just amazed at the amount of detail. You don't even get that in some of the films today. I think everything works really well together. This is a film, The Dark Crystal, that kind of gained its audience and traction afterwards. It wasn't a massive hit when it first came out, and now it's like it's one of those cults that we love to go and watch, like with Flight of the Navigator and The Never-Ending Story. That's probably my best comparison, almost, with the creature effects and the creature designs. Falcor and the Luck Dragon. I love those, and so seeing that here represented in a film that I hadn't seen fully again, I'm amazed at how well it holds up. So do go and check it out again. It's on Netflix. That is my best way I can do a review without kind of spoiling the main story and synopsis about things that you will see. It's an 80s classic. It's one of the greats, especially for creature design and just sheer ingenuity and what we could do and what we could not do. I'm so looking forward to see what they do with the series, because you take that imagination, you take the puppeteering, the animatronics, the creature design, and you take our technology now, and I'm hoping that the amalgamation of the two is going to be something spectacular. I'm definitely going to review that. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this film. Do you think it still holds up? I think it does. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.